chia seeds, they're absolutely loaded with nutrients. Very high in omega-3, alpha-linolic acid. It's then converted into one of the other kind of more or less similar to the marine-based acids, omega-3s, but really a great thing in your diet. Very high in protein, minerals, everything, and they're a great little thing to kind of build up into this little pudding. Now, chia seed pudding, it's quite popular at the moment. I'm going to make 3 different versions of it. Base ingredient is a half cup of milk. You could use one of the vegan type of milks like an oat milk or almond. I'm using just normal skimmed milk. The low fat skimmed milk, I think dairy. There's no big problems for me with dairy. If you find it a trigger yourself, just move on to one of the other ones. I'm also going to use a little bit of low fat Greek yogurt, a sieved Greek yogurt. I personally prefer with this. Some fresh mint. I'm going to make kind of one of these a little bit more desserty and 2 of them kind of more crunchy. The one that's more desserty, I'm going to use a few oats in it as well, and kind of make it like a little kind of a tiramisu kind of idea. The other one's one with lots of berries, the other one with some kiwi and banana. But again, once you have that basic recipe, just a teaspoon of honey, a half cup of milk, you know, of your choice, and 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. After that, you just mix those together, you have your base, and after that, it's your imagination. This is only to give you a few ideas. There's no real rules to this one, but a very, very nice little dish to know how to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've just pre-measured just 3 half cups of my milk. Again, you could use the almond, whatever you want. And I'm just going to, into each one, add 2 tablespoons of my chia seeds. And into each one also, I'm going to add some honey, about a tablespoon of, or a teaspoon of honey. Just put a little sweetness into it, into each one. Now, I like to mix them into cups first and then transfer into the little jars that I'm going to store them in. And the reason is because the chia seeds need a few minutes to kind of just thicken up. And I don't want them to all sink to the bottom of my jars. So I'm going to use the old traditional jars, and but I just find it's a little bit easier like this. So give the 3 of them a good mix, and quite quickly your seeds will start to swell up. So there's our base pudding, and after about 30 minutes that'll really start to thicken up and those seeds will start soaking in all that moisture. But in one of these, if you remember, I wanted to make a tiramisu. So I'm going to use oats in that one as well. So I'm going to use about 1.5 tablespoons of oats, which I'm also going to add in here because I want this one a little bit thicker. In the tiramisu one is also, the other ones are very, very simple. Really just using them as is. But also onto this one with the oats, I'm going to put about 1 teaspoon of cocoa powder. I'm also going to add into that just a drop of vanilla extract, and just give that a good mix around, and that's going to take on a completely different texture. Also into the one with the oats, I'm also going to put just a small shot of espresso. Kind of keep it quite concentrated, so not too much liquid in it. So after around 30 minutes, the oats, they'll take a little longer to absorb the liquid, but the chia seeds themselves, as you can see, they're really thickens up, and you end up with a mixture very like a nice rich tapioca. If you're a little bit thin and you're thinking, this isn't thickening up right, just add a couple more seeds into it. Another teaspoonful or so on, and it will all thicken up, and you'll get this lovely, sweet, really nutritious kind of a porridge, for want of a better description. And then it's only a case of putting everything together. So for my tiramisu, I'm going to just add some of my chia seeds in here mixed with the porridge into a little jar. Then onto that, I'm going to put a generous few blueberries because I like blueberries, and plenty there. And then after that, I'm just going to top up the rest of the way. Use the rest of it on there. And then just to top it up, a couple of teaspoons of good Greek yogurt. And maybe just a few blueberries on top. Really that simple, no need to get complicated with these. And there you have a lovely, very satisfying and very high protein little dish. And then on the next one, with my berry one, now this time I'm just going to use my chia seeds. As you can see, they've thickened up really nice and thick. So into my little jar, just going to put a couple of teaspoons full of that. Then I'm going to put my kiwi fruits, which I've used a golden kiwi. That's why it's not too thick, or too green, I should say. And I'm actually going to put a couple of my bananas in there as well. A little bit more of my pudding then on top of that. And then I like to use a little bit of Greek yogurt. Again, you don't have to, but you know, I think it just adds a nice little element back into the dish. And then onto that, I'm going to use my remaining few bananas that I have there and kiwi. And then I'm just going to use a few just roughly torn mint leaves on top, and that's just going to give a little bit of texture onto there. And there's my little kiwi banana. Very high in potassium, very high in vitamin C. And the last one, I'm going to make this one all about the berries. So again, I'm going to get my pudding. As you can see, it goes lovely and thick. Little piece of that in there. Plenty of, I've just roughly chopped some strawberries here. Very, very roughly chopped. And some raspberries. Just pop them in there. A couple of blueberries as well there. Then just top it off with your pudding. And then finally a little bit of yogurt. Again, completely optional yogurt, as is everything with this. Once you have your basic ingredients, it's just a case of experimenting. And top it all up with some nice raspberries and, you know, overloaded almost this one. And again, there's no real rules this, whatever you have handy. And that is really it. That's a nice little chia pudding, which is a very, very healthy, protein, mineral packed, and omega-3 packed little brunch, filler upper, or even breakfast idea, especially for some kind of a breakfast on the go. And just one last thing, just to finish off my tiramisu, or you know what I'm talking about. And also got some nice hazelnuts, which are peeled and roasted, and some cacao nibs. I'm just going to pour them along the top, just to finish it off and give it a little bit of texture in there with the puffiness. And there we have it. This one a little bit more heavy, a little with the oats and so on. But it's a lovely, lovely little dessert or breakfast or, you know, just food on the go idea.